Every single year, millions of people over 60 receive a diagnosis that feels like a life sentence: type 2 diabetes. It doesn't arrive with sirens or dramatic warnings. It begins quietly: a little more thirst, a bit more fatigue, maybe some blurred vision or unexpected weight loss. Sometimes no symptoms at all, until one day it shows up on a routine blood test, or worse after a fall, an infection, or a hospital visit. And from that moment on, life can change completely. Suddenly, there are new medications, new diets, new worries. Every meal feels like a math problem, every outing, a risk. And many seniors begin to feel like they're living at the mercy of something they never saw coming. But here's the truth that rarely gets the attention it deserves: type 2 diabetes is not an inevitable part of growing older. Yes, age plays a role. The body becomes less efficient at processing glucose. But for the vast majority of cases, especially in people over 60, diabetes doesn't just happen. It develops slowly, over years, shaped by habits, routines, and choices. And that means something incredibly powerful: it can be delayed. It can be prevented. It can be pushed back, sometimes for good. In this video, we're going to walk together through everything you need to know, not just to understand how diabetes works, but how to stop it in its tracks before it takes over your life. We'll cover the foods that quietly raise your blood sugar every single day, often the ones labeled as healthy. The powerful link between walking 20 minutes a day and lower insulin resistance. Why poor sleep and stress are silent triggers, increasing your risk without you even realizing. And how emotional support from family, friends, or community can be one of the most effective tools in prevention. This isn't about selling you a miracle cure. It's about science. It's about choices. And it's about real people, just like you, who made simple changes and saw real results. You'll meet Margaret, 74, who learned she had prediabetes after a routine checkup and who reversed it in 6 months with nothing but lifestyle changes. Robert, 69, who thought his aches and fatigue were just getting older, until he learned his blood sugar was dangerously high. And Teresa, 77, who battled loneliness and stress after losing her husband and who discovered that healing emotionally helped her body heal too. So let me ask you, do you sometimes feel confused by the overwhelming health advice out there? Low carb, low fat, high fiber, low glycemic, plant-based. It never ends. Have you been told it's just part of aging and that there's nothing you can do? Are you tired of feeling like your body is a ticking time bomb? You're not alone. And most importantly, you are not powerless. This video is your roadmap, a clear, practical, and hopeful path. You'll learn what really works, what doesn't, and how to protect your health without fear, guilt, or confusion. Because preventing type 2 diabetes is not about being perfect. It's about being informed. It's about taking small steps, ones that fit into your life, at your pace. It's about taking back control. So if you're ready to stop fearing what might come and start focusing on what you can change, stay with us. Because what you'll learn in the next hour could truly change the rest of your life. And it all starts now. Before we talk about prevention, we need to understand the enemy we're facing. Type 2 diabetes is often called a silent disease, not because it's rare or harmless, but because it develops quietly, sometimes for years, without dramatic symptoms. By the time it's diagnosed, the damage may already be underway. But what exactly is happening inside the body? Let's break it down. When you eat, your body breaks down most of your food into glucose, a type of sugar that serves as fuel. That glucose enters your bloodstream and signals your pancreas to release insulin, a hormone that helps move glucose into your cells. In a healthy system, this works beautifully. Glucose rises, insulin is released, the cells absorb the sugar, and your blood sugar returns to normal. But with type 2 diabetes, the system breaks down. Over time, the body becomes resistant to insulin. It's like your cells stop listening. The pancreas tries to compensate by producing more insulin, but eventually, it can't keep up. The result? Sugar stays in your bloodstream, and that excess sugar begins to cause damage throughout the body. High blood sugar affects your eyes, leading to vision loss and even blindness, increasing the risk of failure nerves, causing numbness, tingling, and foot problems, heart, doubling or even tripling the risk of heart disease and stroke. For older adults, the complications can be even more severe. Diabetes increases the risk of falls, infections, and cognitive decline, making it not just a blood sugar issue, but a whole body health crisis. Now, let's talk about the stage that comes before diabetes, something that affects over 96 million adults in the US and millions more worldwide. Prediabetes. Prediabetes means your blood sugar is higher than normal, but not yet high enough to be diagnosed as diabetes. The problem? Most people with prediabetes have no idea they have it. There are no clear symptoms, no obvious alarms, but under the surface, the damage is starting. For many seniors, this stage is a wake-up call, but only if it's caught in time. Let me tell you about Margaret, a 73-year-old retired schoolteacher. She considered herself healthy, ate moderately well, took walks twice a week, and saw her doctor once a year. One day, she had a small fall while gardening. Nothing serious, but at the urgent care clinic, the nurse suggested a few blood tests just to be safe. Her A1C, a test that measures average blood sugar over 3 months, came back at 6.4%, just shy of a diabetes diagnosis. She was shocked. She had no symptoms. But that moment changed everything. Margaret decided she wasn't going to wait for the official diagnosis. She made small, steady changes, cut back on refined carbs, started walking daily, focused on sleep and hydration. 6 months later, her A1C dropped to 5.7%, back in the normal range. Margaret's story is more common than you might think, and it's proof of this core truth. The earlier you understand what's happening in your body, the more power you have to change the outcome. So, in this first part of our journey, remember, type 2 diabetes isn't just about sugar. It's about how your body processes energy, how it responds to stress, how it repairs itself. And by learning how it works, you begin to reclaim control. Coming up next, the first line of defense: what's on your plate. If there's one area where we can make a profound impact on blood sugar starting today, it's what we eat. Food isn't just fuel, it's chemistry. It's information for your body. And when you understand how different foods affect your blood sugar, you can begin making choices that stabilize, rather than spike, your glucose without giving up the joy of eating. So let's start simple. Carbohydrates, especially refined ones, are the primary drivers of blood sugar spikes. White bread, pastries, sugary drinks, crackers, even some low-fat snacks, they enter your bloodstream fast, like a sugar storm. But when you swap these for whole, fiber-rich foods, the story changes. Let me give you a quick example. 2 slices of white bread can spike your blood sugar quickly and leave you crashing an hour later. But if you replace them with a slice of whole grain toast and a boiled egg, you slow the absorption of sugar, stay fuller longer, and avoid the roller coaster. That's the power of low glycemic eating foods that release sugar slowly, giving your body time to process. Now, you don't need to memorize every glycemic index chart. Here are a few simple rules. Choose whole over refined, brown rice instead of white, steel-cut oats over instant. Prioritize fiber. Beans, lentils, chia seeds, and vegetables are your allies. Include healthy fats and proteins. Think avocado, olive oil, fish, nuts, and lean poultry. Watch hidden sugars. Even healthy yogurts and granola bars can contain more sugar than a donut. Now, many seniors worry, is it too late to change the way I eat? The answer is absolutely not. Take Robert, for example. He's 69, a retired postman who loved his morning routine toast with jam, sweetened coffee, and sometimes a muffin. After his doctor flagged rising blood sugar, he felt overwhelmed. He thought he'd have to give up everything he loved. But instead of dieting obsessively, he learned to make small, sustainable swaps. Now, he starts his day with scrambled eggs with spinach and tomatoes, a slice of whole grain toast, and coffee with cinnamon and a splash of almond milk, no sugar. Not only did his energy improve within weeks, but after 3 months, his fasting glucose dropped by 18 points. Food changes don't have to be drastic. In fact, the most effective changes are the ones you can keep for life. If you're not sure where to begin, start with just 1 meal a day. Swap sugary cereals for a bowl of oats topped with berries and nuts. Replace soda with sparkling water and lemon. Add a side salad to your lunch. These small steps create momentum, and momentum creates transformation. It's also worth noting, the goal isn't to be perfect. Life includes birthdays, holidays, and comfort foods. But if 80% of your choices support stable blood sugar, your body will respond. And remember, the food you eat today becomes your energy tomorrow. It shapes your mood, your memory, your mobility. So each bite isn't just about diabetes, it's about your future quality of life. In the next section, we'll explore something just as powerful as food: movement. Not extreme exercise, not gym memberships, just moving your body your way every single day. When we think about managing or preventing diabetes, we often focus on food, and that's important. But there's another tool just as powerful, and it doesn't come in a pill or on a plate: movement. You don't need to run marathons or lift heavy weights. For older adults, gentle, consistent movement is one of the most effective ways to lower blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity. Let's look at why. When you move your muscles, even with a simple walk, your body uses glucose for energy. That means less sugar stays in your bloodstream, and your cells become more responsive to insulin. Even one walk after a meal can reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes significantly. And here's the best part: the benefits of movement go far beyond glucose control. Regular physical activity also reduces blood pressure and cholesterol, improves mood, and reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety, enhance balance. Reducing the risk of falls, protects memory and cognitive function, strengthens bones and joints. Know what kind of movement is best? The answer is whatever you enjoy, and whatever is safe for your body. Some of the most effective and accessible forms for seniors include brisk walking, care exercise, water aerobics, gentle yoga, or Thai car resistance bands, or light dumbbells. Dancing, yes, dancing. Let me tell you about Helen, a 72-year-old widow who used to love dancing when she was younger. After her husband passed, she lost her energy and motivation. She spent more time sitting, and soon, her blood sugar crept into pre-diabetic levels. But one day, her granddaughter invited her to a community dance class for seniors. At first, Helen felt silly, unsure of her steps, nervous about being judged. But the music sparked something in her. Now, twice a week, she dances again. She laughs. She connects. And 3 months in, her blood sugar levels have dropped. Her mood has lifted. And her doctor has reduced her need for medication. Helen's story is more than inspiring, it's scientific. A study from the National Institute on Aging showed that even 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, that's just over 20 minutes a day, can reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by over 58% in older adults. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to hurt. You just have to start. Even standing up and stretching every hour can make a difference. Even taking the stairs once a day instead of the elevator. If you haven't moved much lately, begin gently. Talk to your doctor. Start with a short walk after lunch. Use a chair for balance. Invite a friend. Listen to music. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. You're not exercising to punish your body. You're moving to honor it, to help it work better, longer, stronger. In our next section, we'll explore two powerful but often overlooked pieces of the diabetes puzzle: sleep and stress. Because what happens in your body while you rest matters more than you might think. You may be eating well. You may even be moving more, but if you're not sleeping enough, or if your mind is constantly racing with worry, your efforts could still fall short. That's because sleep and stress are two of the most underestimated factors when it comes to blood sugar control, especially in older adults. Let's start with sleep. When you don't sleep enough or your sleep is fragmented, your body produces more cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol increases blood sugar by triggering the liver to release glucose for emergency energy. That might be helpful if you're running from danger, but not when you're simply tossing and turning at 3 a.m. In fact, studies have shown that just one night of poor sleep can reduce insulin sensitivity the very next day, making it harder for your body to process sugar. And yet, sleep problems are incredibly common in seniors. From sleep apnea and restless legs to anxiety and nighttime awakenings, quality sleep often feels out of reach. Let me introduce you to George, 74, who lost his wife 2 years ago. Since then, he's struggled with grief, loneliness, and insomnia. He'd fall asleep in front of the TV but wake up at 2 a.m., heart racing, unable to rest. His energy was low, and his blood sugar kept creeping up even though he hadn't changed his diet. At his doctor's suggestion, George began working with a sleep therapist. They created a nighttime routine: no screens after 9 p.m., a short walk before bed, a warm shower, and calming music, journaling to process emotions, and consistent bedtime, and wake up hoarse. Within weeks, his sleep began to improve. He felt more rested, and for the first time in months, his fasting glucose began to drop. Now let's talk about stress. Emotional stress, especially chronic stress, also raises cortisol. For older adults, Stress can come from many directions. Health concerns, financial pressure, family responsibility, wishing for a spouse or friend, or the quiet weight of loneliness and loss. These stressors often go unspoken, but they affect the body in very real ways. High cortisol doesn't just raise blood sugar, it increases inflammation, weakens the immune system, and contributes to insulin resistance over time. That's why managing stress is not a luxury, it's a necessity. What helps? Breathing exercises and guided meditation, prayer, or spiritual reflection, spending time in nature, talking to a trusted friend or counselor, or joining a support group or community class. Sometimes, the most healing thing you can do is simply talk to someone who listens without judgment. It's important to remember, your emotional well-being is part of your physical health. You can't separate the two. If your mind is racing, your heart is heavy, or sleep feels impossible, please know, you're not weak. You're not failing. You're human. And just like with food or movement, small changes in how you care for your mind can make a big difference in how your body feels and functions. Coming up next, we'll look at something more practical: checkups, monitoring, and knowing your numbers. Because knowledge, real, specific knowledge about your body, is a powerful form of prevention. You can't change what you don't know. When it comes to preventing type 2 diabetes, one of the most powerful and often overlooked tools is routine monitoring. Knowing your numbers isn't just for people already diagnosed. It's for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the disease. Let's start with the basics. The 3 most important tests to track your blood sugar and overall metabolic health are: 1. A 1C test. This measures your average blood sugar over the past 2 to 3 months. A normal result is below 5.705. 7 to 6.4% is considered pre-diabetes. 6.5 or higher is diabetes. This test helps reveal trends that a single day's blood test can miss. 2. Fasting blood glucose. This is your blood sugar level after not eating for at least 8 hours. Normal, below 100 mg or diabetes. 1001 to 5 mg or diabetes. 126 mg or DL or higher. 3. Oral glucose tolerance test. Less common, but very accurate. This test measures how your body handles sugar over a 2-hour period after drinking a glucose solution. Now, you might be thinking, but I feel fine, why would I need these tests? Here's the thing. Type 2 diabetes doesn't always show symptoms in the early stages. You can feel normal, even energetic, while your blood sugar is slowly creeping higher month after month. Routine screening, especially after age 60, is critical. In fact, the CDC recommends that all adults over 45 get screened every 3 years. But for those with risk factors like being overweight, having high blood pressure, or a family history of diabetes, testing should happen more often. Let me tell you about Alma, a 67-year-old retired librarian. She felt healthy, walked every day, and kept a mostly balanced diet. But her sister had recently been diagnosed with diabetes, so Alma decided to ask her doctor for a full blood panel at her annual checkup. To her surprise, her A1C was 6.1% in the pre-diabetic range. That knowledge changed everything. It gave her the chance to take action before a formal diagnosis, before complications, before medication. 6 months later, her A1C dropped to 5.6%. No medications, just lifestyle adjustments. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Knowledge is prevention. The earlier you spot a problem, the easier it is to fix or even reverse. So what should you do? Talk to your doctor about getting your A1C and fasting glucose checked, especially if it's been over a year. Keep a personal health journal with your numbers, medications, and any symptoms. Consider using a home glucose monitor even occasionally to understand how your body reacts to certain meals or stress. And if you've already been diagnosed, tracking your numbers becomes even more vital. It helps you and your doctor adjust your care plan, prevent complications, and stay in control. Remember, checkups are not just about detecting disease. They're about building a partnership with your healthcare team, one where you stay informed, engaged, and empowered. In our final full section, we'll explore something that ties everything together: the power of connection and social support. Because no one should walk this path alone. We've talked about food, we've talked about movement, sleep, and checkups. But there's one final and often overlooked piece of the prevention puzzle: connection. Humans are not meant to go through life alone. And when it comes to staying healthy physically, mentally, and emotionally, social support may be one of the most powerful tools you have. Studies have shown that seniors who feel socially isolated or chronically lonely are more likely to experience high levels of cortisol and inflammation, develop insulin resistance, trigle with sleep, appetite, and motivation, and yes, even face a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. That might sound surprising at first, but think about it. When you feel isolated, it becomes harder to take care of yourself. Meals become rushed or skipped. Movement feels like a chore. Sleep is restless. And the weight of worry can feel too heavy to carry alone. But when you feel connected, truly connected, everything shifts. Take Teresa, 77, who was diagnosed with prediabetes a year after her husband passed. She was grieving, withdrawn, and overwhelmed by health advice. But her grandson, Marco, began visiting weekly. They cooked together, walked the dog, and eventually joined a community cooking class. Those weekly visits became more than a routine. They became her anchor. With his support, Teresa changed the way she ate, started walking regularly, and began to smile again. Today, she's not only back in the normal blood sugar range, she's also stronger, more confident, and more connected to life. Connection doesn't always have to come from family. There are many ways to build a circle of support. Join a diabetes prevention program at a local clinic or senior center. Attend community fitness classes made for older adults. Start a walking group with neighbors. Volunteer. Even just a few hours a month. Purpose reduces stress. Use video calls to stay close to distant loved ones, or simply call a friend and say, "Let's keep each other accountable." Even small interactions, a chat with a neighbor, a shared meal, a group activity, can have a profound effect on your health. And don't forget, support works both ways. Sometimes helping someone else is exactly what we need to feel stronger ourselves. So if you've been trying to manage everything alone, if the journey feels too overwhelming, reach out. You don't have to do this by yourself. Because diabetes prevention is not just about numbers. It's about community, encouragement, joy, laughter, belonging. And those are not luxuries, they're medicine. Coming up next, we'll wrap everything together with a powerful reminder: your future is not fixed. You still have choices. And those choices start with hope. Let's take a moment to pause. You've just learned that type 2 diabetes, one of the most common and life-altering chronic conditions among older adults, is not a guaranteed part of aging. It's not fate. It's not punishment. It's not too late. Whether you're in your 60s, 70 seconds, or beyond, your body is still listening. It responds every single day to the care you give it, to the meals you choose, the steps you take, the rest you prioritize, and the people you surround yourself with. We've seen how food isn't just fuel, it's medicine. How movement doesn't have to be intense, it just has to be consistent. How sleep and stress quietly shape your metabolism, and how community can lift you when willpower runs low. You've also heard stories from Margaret, Robert, Helen, George, Therese, each one proving that change is possible, even in life's later chapters. So let me ask you, what's one small thing you can do today, not next week, not someday, but today? Could you take a walk after lunch? Swap your white bread for whole grain? Go to bed 30 minutes earlier? Call a friend just to say, I need you? Because the truth is, you don't need to transform everything overnight. You just need to begin. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. And know this, your health is not behind you, it's still ahead of you. There's still time to choose clarity over confusion, prevention over regret, vitality over decline. This isn't about living forever. It's about living better, with energy, confidence, independence, and joy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for caring about your body, your future, and your life. If this video moved you or helped you understand your health a little better, consider sharing it with someone you love. Because together, we can change the story one step, one meal, one breath at a time.